Greetings. It's been a few weeks since we've sent a video. Haven't had too much to report, but now we do. And so now it's time for another video to be sent out to the parish at large. I'm here in this empty church, but the good news is, as the weeks have been going by more recently, we have seen more and more people returning to church. And so that's really been the good news. And the bishop has, even though the dispensation continues, for anyone who feels compromised, anyone who feels uneasy about being in this setting, the dispensation for Mass now continues to November 23rd. And who knows, maybe beyond that. But you should keep yourself safe. But more and more people are missing coming to Mass, certainly missing coming to communion. And so we have found week in and week out, our numbers are kind of creeping up a little bit, but now something even more has happened. For all these weeks during COVID, we have been restricted to 25% of our capacity. Now, even though we haven't gotten near that number at any Mass, because that number for us is about 300, that's 25%. We have been doing the Sign Up Genius and all those kinds of things. But now the bishop said it's time really to open up even more. So there is no restriction. Anybody who wishes to come is invited to come to Mass, practicing social distancing, certainly wearing masks. Everyone who comes into the church building, and we hear again and again on the news that that is the safest thing. And you know, what came to us from the diocese is that even after all of these weeks that people have been coming to church, we haven't had any bad experiences. There has not been people who have reported getting COVID virus because they come here. I find that almost hardly anybody comes without a mask. If you do, I had one this past week. This woman was waiting outside. She forgot her mask. We do have some for those emergencies, but mainly people bring their own. And so now there won't be any more Sign Up Genius. You are invited to come to Mass that we have it, as we have it, to practice social distancing and to wear a mask. A few things I probably need to say about social distancing. One is there's been a little difficulty coming to communion. It's on the communion line that I find people often bunch up. And I think somebody might be a little anxious if somebody is right behind them. So we do have markings on the floor, little pieces of white tape that would, just like you see in the supermarket or almost any place else, pieces of white tape that will just remind you to keep 5 or 6 feet distance between you and the person in front of you. The other thing I really want to continue to instruct is how to go to communion. Now, I do appreciate that people, by and large, receive in their hand. I think asking Father or any Eucharistic minister to put the host in your mouth is kind of going above and beyond. So if at all possible, we ask you to receive in the hand. But since we're instructed not to touch anyone's hand because of the possibility of transferring COVID germs, if you will, we're very careful in how we give communion. If we touch anyone's hand, the instruction we've been given is stop everything, go to a table, put your ciborium of host down, cleanse with Purell once again, and start all over. That can get tedious. So how can you help us, a Eucharistic minister or the priest, not to touch your hand? Simply this: when you come to communion and the host is offered and you say amen, one hand over the other as flat as you can. Some people like to make a little basket or a bird's nest, drop the host in there. Please no. There's no assurance it's going to drop straight or whatever. And some people, they almost want to grab the host as we're putting it there, and I'm jerking away. That's a reflex. What works most easily is to have not your thumbs sticking up or fingers like this, but to flatten your hand as much as you can. And I have found this perfect, that when I offer the host and it touches your hand and I let it go, absolutely perfect. So if you can keep that in mind when you receive communion, offering your hands like this, and then you take the host. Sometimes people still have to remove their mask and you receive. The other big change that we are doing, that we're beginning, is for those who have come to church, every second pew has been taped off. When you come to church this weekend, all the pews will be open. But there will be something different. We are placing pieces of tape on the fronts of the pews. And so this will encourage people to stagger. Here's a piece of tape. You would sit with your loved ones, 2, 3, 4 people, pretty much behind the piece of tape. Another piece of tape at the end of the pew. But then the pew behind it would have a piece of tape kind of in the middle, so that people would not be sitting directly behind the one in front of them. It would offer us much more seating, but I think it would still offer us social distancing. Next week, all the doors will be open, the 3 main doors for entering the church. There will be the sanitizer dispensers at every door. But one of the ways you might help us and yourself would be to bring your own hand sanitizer. Because we have found at different times, right as people are coming in, we're running out of sanitizers. You can imagine, as hundreds of people enter church, you don't know how much we have or when it'll run out. To bring a little sanitizer yourself kind of saves us some work, but it also allows you, once you've sat in the pew, you've been touching different things, but once you're all set, a little sanitizer and you're cleansed. Those who come the first time, who haven't been coming to church, maybe for quite a while, but now want to join us, bring your phone. Bring your phone. Because we offer the Mass now on not an app, but it's you text the number, and it's a way of getting all the Mass parts and even the readings on your phone. And if you turn your phone this way, the print can be pretty big. And so we're called not to have those missalettes, breaking bread books where they're touched by one after the other. So if you bring your phone, you have everything you need for Mass. Trying to think, is there anything else? We've been grateful for the volunteers who stay after Mass and cleanse the pews. Those of you who are Eucharistic ministers, we do not offer the cup at this time, just the host, but we do look for Eucharistic ministers to sign up on the bulletin board in the back of church before Mass begins for the three slots to help the priest. I think younger Eucharistic ministers should keep it in mind that they may be the ones more than the older ones, because we're told that the older we are, the more vulnerable we are. I think that's pretty much it, but we hope that if you've been away from Mass, you might think about joining us once again. If you are not comfortable with coming to Mass yet, stay at home and remember that the 11 a.m. Mass on Sunday morning is still live streamed. So we'll always look forward to being seen by you, but we hope to see more of you in church as in the weeks to come. Thank you, and God bless.